Hey, welcome to the Dripping Stone Podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, man.
Got a little bit of a throat thing going on here.
I hear you.
Everybody else does too.
Yeah, they hear it too.
Honestly, for the next, 3 episodes or so,
Yeah,
you're
apparently.
hear me sounding like this. You know what doesn't mix very well?
Water and oil.
That and an audio medium and head colds.
And a gravelly voice.
Gravelly voice.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe it's just adding that sex appeal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Dripping Stone.
Welcome to the Dripping Stone Podcast.
See, listen, you sound so much better.
Well, I mean, that was nasally.
I feel like I sound like Oh, God. I probably have taken that out, but I'm going to leave that in.
Feel better.
Speaking of feeling better, we would love if everyone grabs a pour of something special and sips along with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever it is you've got that's convenient.
And a liquid form.
I mean, if you want to sip some peanut butter, I guess you technically can.
I disagree. I don't think you can sip peanut butter. Peanut butter is not normally, I mean, I guess sometimes you open it up and it's got that oil viscousy nature on top.
No. I think peanut butter is liquid. It's just a very thick liquid.
Disagree.
It's not a solid.
But it's
not a gas.
I guarantee you, you could take a fresh jar of Skippy because it's smooth and hold it upside down. I don't care how long you sit there with it. It's not going to fall. It's not gonna take the form. There's a word for it.
Yeah.
There's a word for the thing.
Yeah, it's that cornstarch and water. It's that.
No, I mean there's an actual scientific word for it. Yeah, I forget what it is.
It's a non-Newtonian fluid.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
It's between a liquid and a solid.
Yeah.
You're saying that peanut butter is a non-Newtonian fluid.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some sort of a time limit on
the
flow to be considered an actual liquid.
Sure.
Technically glass, will eventually droop, but it's not a liquid.
Okay.
So I'm not playing that game with you, sir.
So I can't sip peanut butter.
Yeah, just as easily as you can sip glass.
Okay, fine. So if you're not sipping peanut butter,
sip from a cup of peanut. No, you can't.
No, it's not a bad idea. Just put some chocolate milk in a peanut butter jar, like the remnants of a peanut butter jar. I bet you that tastes good.
Well, if you took the cake pop mold and just put that with peanut butter on the inside, freeze it, then pop that out, and you got your little peanut butter cup. Whoa, hit an idea there. A peanut butter cup. I don't think anybody's done anything with that yet.
No one's ever made a peanut butter cup. We should probably patent that right now.
Right now. Let me get that. Let me get that trademark.
And we'd also love it if you support the Dripping Stone Podcast. Super easy to do. You just got to rate the Dripping Stone Podcast wherever it is you're finding great podcasts like this one by telling someone about the Dripping Stone Podcast. And finally, you can support the Dripping Stone Podcast by asking for a sticker. And we'll give you a sticker.
Hey.
And you can put that sticker wherever you want.
Yeah.
And people will see the sticker and they say, who are those two fine mugs?
Wow. You can put it where the sun shines.
Or where it don't shine.
Or where it don't shine.
You do you.
Yeah. We don't judge.
No,
I'm curious. But I'm not judgmental.
On that note, you want to drink something?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Kyle, I've got something special for us.
Ooh.
Something we've not had, something that I have brought all the way from the land of the Scot.
Jeez, you win again?
No.
It's taking us this long to get through all the stuff that you got over there.
I know. I
think wild.
Actually, this is the last of it.
This is it?
Yeah, this is it.
I don't believe it.
No, for sure this is it. I think.
I mean, there's still some liquid over there.
Well, I mean, there's still stuff on the shelf.
Not new stuff.
Right.
Just not new. Nothing new.
Nothing new?
Nothing new.
So this comes from one of our favorite distilleries. And this is a bottle that I've seen to purchase here in the States a couple times.
Yeah.
But it's always been out of my price range.
Sure.
So when I went and visited Ardbeg, everyone's seen the title. When I went and visited Ardbeg and I found out that we could take drams away, called driver drams. We talked about it in the past. We did the Hypernova.
Driver dram.
I was like, cool. So I want one of those. And they're like, yeah, sure. I think it was maybe, 7-8 pounds versus a bottle of this, which is pushing $200-$300. I've seen it for $500.
Yep.
A little out of my price range.
Right.
But this is the Ardbeg Ardcore.
There you go.
Yeah. It's got that kind of punk aesthetic.
Yep.
If you've seen the bottles, there's actually 2 different versions of this. There's the one we're trying, which is the 4692, and then there's a committee release. Ardbeg does the special releases, and that one's at just over 100.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got 2 different variations.
Yeah.
They tend to do this
One
with,
that's a little more hardcore than the other one.
correct. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They tend to do this with all of their special releases, where they'll do a committee release,
Yep.
and like a normal special release. And the committee release tends to be a little bit higher proof.
Right.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. You want me to pop that cork?
Twist it. Pop it. Pull it. There we go.
All right. So the Ardbeg Ardcore, Kyle.
Ardbeg Ardcore.
I'm gonna give you a little bit of some words here if you'd like them. Would you like them?
I would love them.
All right. So the Ardbeg Ardcore is part of their archive expression now. It's one of those, like, you can't, they're not making it anymore.
Right.
You can still find bottles, but they're not making it anymore. From a distillery with more ups and downs than a pogoing punk comes Ardcore. Created with roasted black malt, roasted to the extreme, the spirit is all about what happens up front and center stage. The malt is what defines its distinctive profile. Described as tasting like biting on a spiky ball, Ardcore is a dram that wears its heart on its sleeve. It's Black Heart. Notes of charcoal and sweet smoke make for an in-your-face nose, while potent notes of aniseed and dark chocolate stamp this bottle out as one fit for the most Ardcore of fans.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's
I didn't
using...
know black malt was a thing.
Yeah, it's basically malted barley. This can just, like, toast the hell out of some malted barley.
Charcoaled.
Charcoal's correct. Like, it's roasted.
Right.
It's 75% of their normal malt, and then 25% of their black malt, and then it's first fill and refill bourbon casks.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes in at 92 proof.
92. I do get that dark chocolate.
Oh, on the nose. Yeah, wow.
Right away.
Wow, that is pronounced.
Yeah.
And I expected it to be really, really peaty, and it's not.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's there.
It's definitely
but it's,
there. I feel like, though, the ethanols are punching up. Like, I wouldn't say this is 92. Like, it feels like it's in that 110, 115 range.
Sure.
Maybe it's just because it's been a minute since I've had some scotch.
Right.
But it's also like chocolate,
There's some fruit.
like fruit cake.
Yeah.
Almost that fruit cake. It's like that one that you like. That fruit cake that's like congealed into a
Loaf. No thanks. No
that
thanks.
mass,
Cube. Brick.
like fake fruit salad.
Yeah, it's not a definable fruit. It's kind of a fruit cocktail, kind of a fruit
Yeah.
collaboration.
It's brighter than I expected it to be. Like when the words I read were like dark and brooding.
Yeah, mean.
It's not that.
Yeah, no.
Shall we?
Okay.
No sniffing time for sipping. Oh boy.
Yeah, it's kind of mean on the palate.
Oh boy.
There's that dark and brooding.
It's just charcoal.
Yeah, that's
Ashy.
That's exactly what I expected it to taste like based off of the description.
Wow.
Yeah, that's Born in the Darkness.
The year is 1988. Your parents have a Tercel. Okay.
I don't even know what a Tercel is. Turdsel?
That's yeah, sure. But in your 1988 Tercel, your parents are smoking unfiltered Camel cigarettes.
Gotcha.
Which is what I sound like I've been smoking for years.
And knocking the ashes into the ashtray built into the door.
Correct.
Yeah,
I like that you see where I'm going with. Yeah,
flip open.
Little flippy flip. Yeah, exactly. And those ashes have been compacted down over time because the wet, muggy Alabama, Florida weather is just like it's compacted into
moisture,
that. Exactly. And you've now been tasked to, Kyle, go clean out the old Tercel. So you go out there with your shop vac.
Yeah.
And you go vacuum that out. This is that smell.
Yeah. You'll need a screwdriver to really dig that stuff out.
It's a damn chisel. Like,
yeah, this is intense, even for it just to be 92.
Yeah, it is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's aggressive.
It's ashy.
I mean, it's got some qualities in it. Like it's got that dark chocolate notes on the palate.
Oh,
like
yeah.
There's
oh yeah.
The malty creaminess is kind of there.
God,
but it's just the aftertaste is just so ashy and
it's the bitter mixed with the ash. There's no saving attributes there.
Yeah.
It's just like there's no balance.
Right. Yeah. No, it's all oak bitter and I'm assuming just this black malt
Yeah.
bitter coming through at the
Whoa.
end. That's it's present.
It's present.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well documented at this point. The last couple Ardbeg things that we've had, I've been hypercritical of, simply really because of the naming. That I'm always like, ooh, the
spectacular,
and it's just present.
It's fine.
Yeah, the hypernova,
but they don't want to name it.
The heavy vapors.
This is fine.
Yeah, exactly. But this is a name that I can
It
get
fits.
behind. It for sure fits.
Yeah.
Like,
This is Ardcore. Ardbeg Ardcore.
ask me if I like it.
Do you like it?
I don't. And honestly, like having this in the lineup, because I did have this in a tasting lineup too.
Yeah.
It was the least favorite of mine of all the Ardbeg expressions. And there were like, I think there were 6 or 7 in that lineup that I tried. This was the one that was like, ew.
Could I ask you where it was in the lineup? Do you remember?
Like where I put it?
Yeah.
Or like
No. Like,
in the tasting?
Where was it placed in the tasting?
I don't honestly remember. I think the tasting was, though, aligned by proof. So I'm going to say it was
Pretty
fairly
early
early on. Yeah.
Because like I'm kind of assuming that, if you had this in a lineup, even though it's not high proof, it's so high bitter
Yeah.
that obviously that's going to influence what you have after it.
Sure.
So like, do you have something like this, and then if you go to like, let's just say regular Ardbeg 10,
Yeah.
or even like Wee Beastie, like, are those going to come off way sweeter now?
I think you're
Because
right.
this is so bitter that it's knocking that bitter back.
Yeah. Thinking back to that tasting, I mean, obviously it's been, 8 months ago at this point.
Right.
I do remember that happening. Like, I think that Corey Reckon was in that tasting, or maybe it was Ugadal. I know that the Hypernova and the Supernova were part of that, and this was part of it. So you've got so many things battling, obviously, in a tasting like that.
Right.
But I remember this being the one that was like, oh, like there's very little balance there, and it is what it says it is. It's turned up to 11,
Right.
and it's distortion.
Yeah. And it's trying to push that boundary of like, well, it's too much.
Yeah, and I like it for that,
Yeah, agreed.
but I don't think I'd want a bottle of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things of, one, I don't think I'd want a bottle of it. Just like, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of snobby that way in terms of, if I'm going to pay that much for a bottle, I want it to have some proof along with it.
Sure.
And I don't know why, but I am like that.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think I could ever pay much over $100 for a bottle that's under $100.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I see what you mean. I'm the same way.
Or unless it's got some hefty age to
right.
it.
Or, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think this could be an interesting thing of like pairing it with some of your other really heavy peaters to see what's actually coming through. Because I feel like this would kind of almost, this would battle with just about anything.
Yeah. So, okay.
Peat wise.
If you're saying that, like, would I want a bottle so that I can do that? Yeah. Okay. In that case,
You know
absolutely.
what? Yeah,
I do. I do.
Not for sitting back and enjoying it.
I think that's what I was thinking. Like,
Just as like using it for
right.
experimentation.
Like, would I, or the like, oh, you like Pete? Try this. You know, like,
just those kinds of environments.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I'm already like thinking of like, okay, cool. So like, yeah, if you put down like throw down some heavy peaters on this thing,
Yeah.
like Octomore, Port Charlotte, like some of those things, like, and really kind of navigate and investigate peat,
Yeah.
this would definitely have its role in that.
Okay, you're right. So if you did like, you're doing tasting for some people, and you're like, no, we're gonna do Pete,
No.
capital P
Yeah.
EAT. Yeah. In that case, I see the point.
Yeah. And like, I'm in a weird like mind space right now with my whiskey anyway, of like where I'm trying to like whittle things down and have less of a huge collection of things and just have like specific things. So yeah, to have something like this that's this aggressive and challenging
Yeah.
in and of itself would be, I don't know if I'd need a bottle of it just to enjoy on its own.
Especially at the price point that I know you're gonna find it at.
Yeah. It's even another one of those things of like, I wish this is like something they would have in a 3,
Right.
what would it be, 375?
Yep.
That I could have, and spend less money, still have it, and still have to be able to play around and experiment with, where I don't have to have the full
Right.
750, just because like it's just going to sit there for too long, and I just like that's a deterrent for me of purchasing the thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've made that argument before, and I stand by it. Like, you could sell more whiskey at an actual bigger price,
Right?
Because people are going to like, you know what, I do want to try it, but I don't want a full bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Colin, now that we've got a pour.
Wait,
Oh, sorry.
does this continue you on your disappointment of Ardbeg?
No, it doesn't.
Interesting.
And it doesn't because it is what it says it is.
Oh, for
And
sure.
I think that's,
Yeah.
I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I think that's my disappointment in Ardbeg in some of the newer releases is that it isn't what it says it is.
Right. It doesn't really fit the branding.
Right. So like, I like Ardbeg's branding. Like I'm for it, but it better be on point.
Yeah.
And this, it's on point.
Yeah, for sure. It is.
Like you did the thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm not disappointed by it. Again, would it be something that I want? No, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. I appreciate the experience.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Add it to the Rolodex, filed away.
There you go.
Yeah.
Close that file and cabinet.
Exactly. All right. Now that we have a pour,
We got a pour.
what would you like to talk about this week?
Saw a little article about how I think it was all 50 states.
I think so.
In these United States, of how every state has put into motion or is in the process of putting into effect a right to repair
Yes.
on items, that all items, manufactured items, should have the ability. I didn't look into the details of it, but basically the concept is that anything that you buy, you should have the ability to repair that item.
Right.
So like if it's a cell phone, if it's some really complex piece of technology, equipment, whatever it may be, a lawnmower, a car, a toothpick holder, regardless of what it is, like you should have the ability that if it has moving parts, to replace those parts and fix it on your own,
Right.
affordably, and to not have to just get rid of the entire thing and buy an entire new item.
Yeah. So this is kind of pushed forward by it's
Regular Joes, just your average Joes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But what I mean is like car manufacturers and technology manufacturers, I think are the easy targets here.
Yeah.
In that rather than, repair your device or, get a new battery or repair your car, it's just time to upgrade it. Like you just got to upgrade it.
Right.
And so the movement as a whole, and you're right, like I didn't do a whole lot of research into it as well, but the movement as a whole is we should, as the lay person, we should have the right to repair those devices rather than be pushed to upgrade or be pushed to, well, that thing's just broken. You just need to buy something new.
Right.
I think that like we always kind of have the ability, like in air quotes, of like you have the ability to repair this, but it's the accessibility to repair those things is not prevalent.
Right.
It's that, like the kind of famous thing of like if you buy a Harley, you've got to take your Harley to the Harley dealership to get its oil change because there's special tools and like they're the only ones who really know how to do it, that
Right.
kind of thing. Whereas it really should just be, this is easy to repair, this is accessible, we can do the thing.
Right.
And so that's what that movement is.
Oh yeah. And that's what got me like, I've heard about this concept of right to repair for several years,
Yeah.
and it's always been something that like I completely agree with.
Yeah.
Like we both have Nintendo Switches,
Yeah.
and those controllers are
those
trash.
Switches suck.
Originally they were.
Yeah.
Maybe
They've got better.
Maybe they're better now.
Yeah.
But that first generation, they were trash. Yeah. But luckily enough, like you could either go and buy a whole new controller and chuck the old ones, but they did have, and you told me about it.
Yeah.
There was like a repair kit where you could tear your controller apart and replace the pieces, put it back together, and worked great.
Yep.
What gets me so excited about this is that there's a certain amount of like satisfaction
Yeah.
that you gain from just like figuring it out, understanding what you need to do, solving the problem yourself, and certainly financially having a bit of a reward for that.
Yep.
And just the fact that you're not wasting and you're not just like throwing stuff away unnecessarily, that you can repair the thing yourself and continue on using it. There's just something that gives you like a good feeling about that.
Yeah. I think this also comes from, or the right to repair idea is also that the manufacturer of the item is not purposely withholding the ability to repair that thing.
Yeah, they can't be dicks about it.
That's in short.
Yeah.
In short. So like not just like the workaround you just mentioned came from like several hours of research and then finding some dude who did it on YouTube and then like you gotta buy this like kit like you just mentioned, you gotta do the whole thing. Whereas right to repair would be like Nintendo essentially saying like, yeah, this thing can break. Here's how you fix it. Here's the way.
Here
to
are the
fix
parts.
it. Exactly.
Here's a little repair kit. That
Whether they sell the repair kit or whether they say like here's a third party that we trust, go do that, which is something that a lot of especially tech and newer cars are not good at doing at all.
Right.
Like I know you've worked on cars in the past and your dad owned a junkyard and your family did the whole thing. Mm-hmm. Do you remember Haynes manuals? That
like underwear?
Nah. I think it was Haines. I think.
That's the same, isn't it?
Nah, I think Haynes is like Hanes. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So Haynes manuals were car manuals that like basically you could diagnose any issue within your car as long as you had this manual.
Troubleshooting.
Yeah, like you needed some know-how to be fair.
Yeah.
But I don't know if like the Haynes company, like they were the ones who produced these and like that was it, or if they worked in conjunction with the car manufacturers. But I don't know if you've cracked open your car manual. Ain't nothing in there about how to repair anything.
Yeah,
Ain't
nothing in there how to use it.
Right. Well, sure, but it's not user friendly. It doesn't explain anything to you. You can't open your car and like reasonably figure anything out. So I think like right to repair and like with the phone, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but Apple's not producing a manual of, hey, if your iPhone breaks, here's how you fix it.
Yeah. Now we'd rather you just buy a new one.
Walk into an Apple store and we'll fix it for you.
Right.
And so now we can charge you what we want, a la Harley. So the right to repair idea is that Apple or Samsung or Toyota or whatever would make available the information for you to be able to do that.
Right.
Like, sure, that's not saying that like you're not going to have to take it to some person that has, a specialized set of knowledge, but that the ability to repair it is available.
Right. And I think that's great. I'm all for it. Just because like I do appreciate the ability to fix a thing, and I like to fix a thing when I can.
Yeah.
I think it's a very kind of like nostalgic, kind of an old school way of doing things. Of like I literally just had a conversation with my mother the other night. My mom sews a lot.
Yeah.
She has been sewing on the same sewing machine for 40 years, and she said, even if this one were to eventually break down and something were to happen to it, I would immediately try to find this exact machine again. Right. Because it is computerized. It's got some technology involved in it, but it's not overly complicated. I do know how to take care of it. I know how to, break it apart and service it myself. And I don't have to take it in every 6 months to a guy to have it done. So I trust this machine.
Right.
And I would want to just continue sewing on that machine.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of a thing of like, especially with just technology now, we're going so far where everything's got a touch screen and the ability to repair the thing is just kind of out of reach.
Right.
And it just seems foolish in a way.
Well, I don't want to get too conspiracy theory about it, but I think that there's a certain level of that's what these companies want. They're making things to break.
Right.
There is no longevity
right.
of the thing. Like, you ever been in a restaurant kitchen?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Those like big Hobart stand mixers, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like they're 5 feet tall.
Yep.
They look like they weigh
big old drum.
Yeah, they look like 1,300 pounds.
Yep.
So those are very simple machines.
Oh yeah, for sure.
A lot of those Hobart mixers have been around for 100 years. You could go buy a Hobart mixer from the 40s and it would be perfect.
Right.
Like, I'm sure you might need to do a little bit of
some oil,
yeah,
some grease.
Sure. But like those machines, first of all, they're simple machines, but they were made to stand up to a hell of a lot.
Right.
And they still work.
Yeah.
Something that I found just fascinating in tours of Scotland is you have all these mills, all these grain mills. And these grain mills have been the same grain mills in these distilleries for like 100 years.
Right.
And they've been using that same grain mill. And it's just because it's a simple thing and it's made to be repaired and it's made to be worked on. And that also brings about more trust. And sure, the company in the long run, I guess, would make less money, but then if you were to charge me more for the thing, but I know that thing is going to last me, 15, 20 years or more, and you like tout that, like this is going to last you a long time, then people are going to be more apt to buy a slightly more expensive thing, and they're going to be more apt to repair that thing too.
Yeah.
And so you create less trash.
Yeah. I think that's kind of like the waste aspect of it is probably like the biggest beneficial aspect of it for me.
Yeah.
As long as you're like continuing to make the thing out of heavy duty materials.
Right.
Like we've got a stand mixer that, we use once a year.
Yeah.
And I've had to pull that thing apart twice in the 10 years that we've owned the thing.
Sure.
To replace a plastic gear in it. Granted, it may be just the fact that like I don't open it up every other year, I guess, and apply new grease.
Sure.
But it's like, why do you have a plastic gear here that's not gonna like withstand the torque and things that like are required of this
Right.
machine?
Make the thing well.
Yeah, like make it out of a more heavy duty material. I don't know.
It's so that they can sell you a $13 plastic gear.
Yeah.
So
Every 3 years.
right. Versus, you're going to need to replace this every 10 years.
Or person's not going to be that. They'll just chuck it
Right,
and
and
buy a whole new $500
So
stand mixer.
I think this is a thing that I can get behind.
Yeah, this is cool.
And I support it.
Yep, me too.
I mean, I don't know what the larger ramifications are. I don't know what this all looks like. But
We did no research whatsoever. We saw
just the idea.
little headline on a freaking Instagram post. We're like, hell yeah, USA.
Sure. But I like the idea, and I think that like I would like to see that that's where things head in terms of make it easier to work on, try to keep fewer things out of the garbage.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. We got anything else?
I think that's got it.
Yeah, me too. Our glasses are empty. Our asses are in the chair.
Yep. We did the thing.
We did the thing.
Good on us.
Well, we'd love to know, what do you think about the Ardbeg Ardcore?
Yeah, you ever had that opportunity to sit back on that aggressive whiskey? Let us know.
Yeah. We'd also love to know, what do you think about the right to repair?
Yeah, do you enjoy that kind of foreplay with fixing your instruments?
I'd also love to know, we definitely have friends that are political analysts and that like really dive deep into that. Did we just get this all wrong?
Ooh, yeah.
I'd love to know that. Tell us we're wrong.
Yeah, we might. We may have just absolutely swing and a miss.
Sure. And I'm okay with it. I can own up to my failures.
Oh, yeah. I've struck out many times.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
I mean, like, a good batter is striking out half the time.
Like that's a great
batter, actually.
That's like probably the best ever.
Like a phenomenal batter striking out half the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Here we go.
Here we go again.
You can get in touch with us through email. It's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone. DREP and Stone. Come find us and socialize some media and see what media we're socializing also.
It's a really good time on that social media.
Yeah.
Depending on which one you're engaging in.
I mean, I think it's good either way. Like,
well, our friends are good people.
Yeah.
So, that kind of thing. And we love it if you support the podcast. You can do so by telling someone. You can do so by rating the podcast. And you can do so by patreon.com. All that good stuff.
Yeah. Great things. All of them.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Hey, cheers, buddy.
Cheers.